Scooby-Doo Escape from the Haunted Mansion was published in 2020 by The Op. It was designed by Jay Cormier and Sen-Fu Lim, and illustrated by Rick Hutchinson and Rob Lundy. We played this at Shucks 2022, meaning we don't have photos and videos. On the other hand, it'll be easier not to spoil things. You have 5 narrative booklets, one for Daphne, Fred, Scooby, Shaggy, and Velma. Rather than having each player control a character, refer to these when interacting with a map object. Create the map by laying out tiles as you play. Draw clue cards when instructed. Some clue cards are carried with you between rooms. Daphne's ability is use, Fred's is investigate, Shaggy's is to eat, Scoob is to smell, and Velma's is to research. The character standees are numbered 1 through 5. To interact, combine the standees number with the 3-digit object on the map. For example, to use the switch number 666, look up 3666 in Daphne's booklet. If combining multiple objects like a key and locked door, put the standees number and digits together in any order. For example, Daphne is 3, the key is 5, and the door 67, 3567, and 3675 will work. The character's number always goes first. If stuck, page 8 of the rulebook has a hint chart. Mistakes may cost you Scooby Snacks. At the end of the game, compare your remaining Scooby Snacks on page 7 for your final score. At the halfway point, you'll have the option to save. Instructions are provided in the book on how to separate things to easily continue later. To break it down, explore the mansion, combine character abilities with objects, read entries, and solve the mystery. That's Scooby-Doo Escape from the Haunted Mansion. Our game of Scooby-Doo Escape from the Haunted Mansion, including setup and takedown, took about 3 hours. As some of you may know, we tend to talk everything through whenever we play mystery games. We also played this at a convention with 2 friends of ours. Because of this, we probably spent 30 minutes longer than at home. You can save midway through, cutting time in half, but we didn't. While fewer players mean more to manage, this totally works if you don't have 1 player for each Mystery Inc. character. If you have more players, pass the booklets around whenever you read an entry. If not reading, clever 7 and 8-year-olds may be fine if there are older players to help with puzzles or when stuck. I'll talk more about this later. If they're gonna read, I think kids 9 and up will be comfortable. There's a lot of reading. The map tiles aren't too large, but accumulated items and the booklets themselves can eat up table space. I'd say you need at least 3 feet by 3 feet even for the solo game. The 5 of us played in a table sectioned around 3 feet by 4 feet. We played Scooby-Doo Escape from the Haunted Mansion at Shucks 2022, and we were joined in the first half by our friends Beth and Daniel. We passed the narrative booklets around to keep everyone engaged. Spoiler warning, there are times when certain characters are not available. This is one of the reasons the game is designed so a player isn't tied to a character. Anyhow, we had a lot of laughs trying out combinations and doing the voices. Dad is pretty good at Shaggy and Scooby. We beat the game after spending only a few Scooby Snacks. Just as we were finishing, one of the designers, Jay Cormier, stopped by to see how we did. How cool is that? We had heard that Scooby-Doo Escape from the Haunted Mansion is just like the episode of the cartoon, and that's entirely true. The look, the character voices and roles, the humor, and the mystery itself are done so well. While Fred is resourceful, Velma's clever, and even Scooby-Doo is more helpful than you'd imagine, Shaggy is mostly just there for comedy. I wish he could have offered a bit more insight into things. Even in the cartoon and comics, he stumbles into things even if he didn't mean to, or doesn't realize what he discovered. He isn't the best for moving things forward. I really like that you can save, and I suspect many parents will also be thankful for this. Unlike many Chronicles of Crime cases, and especially Sherlock Holmes Consulting Detective, you'll have an opportunity to set this aside and pick up again later without taking over your table. I talked earlier about making sure that at least 1 player is older, and this is to help with some of the trickier puzzles. Most of the time, you're just deciding which character to use with which object. The puzzles, though, could easily trip up people who struggle with that sort of thing. One thing to be careful of is quarterbacking. It could be very easy for a player to take over and make every decision for the group. The puzzles are generally fair and not too difficult. We never ran into a situation where we felt like we were stuck. Also, if you find yourself unable to figure things out, there are multiple hint systems, including an entry that basically walks you through the situation. The Scooby Snack scoring fits the theme and gives you a sense of accomplishment. It's nothing like Sherlock Holmes Consulting Detective. Scooby-Doo solved the case by eating 1 Scooby Snack. With all that said, this isn't especially replayable. You could try to beat your score, but seeing as you'd already know everything, I can't see that being much fun. The better reason to replay would be to try some of the sillier combinations. Resetting the box is simple thanks to the file on the Ops website, so you could pass this along afterwards without worrying about damaged components. Scooby-Doo Escape from the Haunted Mansion is a bit like an escape room, a bit like Choose Your Own Adventure mystery, and completely like an episode of the cartoon or an issue of the comics. The writing is spot on, and the Coded Chronicles game system worked incredibly well. The designers made one based on The Shining and The Goonies, and I hope to see many more, including more Scooby-Doo. If it isn't obvious by now, I really like this game, even if the 30 Canadian means this is more expensive than many other escape room in a box games. I know a lot of people dislike app games, but I wonder if that is the future for games like this, much like Chronicles of Crime. Either way, in the present, I recommend this for families who are quite interested in the more graphic crimes in Chronicles of Crime, Detective City of Angels, and other mystery games on store shelves.